Now remember, as I explained to you in the monologue, the blues isn't only about what you play, but how you play it. And I'm going to show you some techniques to facilitate that so you're not playing it like sounding like it sounds like you're just typing on a really cool typewriter, you know. A lot of things can change. This right here can change too. With a little slide and a little vibrato. So let me break down these techniques to you one at a time, and then I'll show you how to put them into riffs to give your soloing some excitement and some flavor and some what we call technically in music tonal shading. Okay, technique number one called bending. Now, one of the things that I notice about a lot of my first year students and just students in general, you can always tell a guy who hasn't been playing very long because his bends aren't to pitch. When you bend a string, and what I mean by that is this, you're actually taking the string, playing it as a straight note, and bending the string either upwards or in a downwards motion to give it a different feel to it. Now, a lot of guys seem to think that you can just do this arbitrarily, just bend the string, but you can't, okay? You have to bend the string to a specific pitch. Okay, I'm going to tell you what that means right now. Now, here's an example. Let's say that we're using the 3rd string, 7th fret. I'm either going to do a half step bend, a full step bend, or a step and a half bend. What that means is I'm going to be bending this note, which is D, which is the 3rd string, 7th fret, as a half step bend, up 1 half step or 1 fret. So specifically, as I said before, we're going to bend this note to this pitch. So rather than this, I've seen this 100 times too. I've seen guys that they're going to try to raise up the string and kind of see how far, use their eyes to see how far they bend it up in order to make the bend proper. Don't even think about doing that. Don't use your eyes to play music. Use your ears. So when you bend the string, the best way I can tell you to make sure that your bends are on pitch is start with the note that you have. That's point A. B, where you should bend it to, the pitch that you should bend it to. And then hear that in your ear. And try to match that pitch. Hear that? That's a half step bend. Now before I go any further, I want to say this, a couple of things that I do is when I'm doing my bends, I at least get one other finger behind it. You know, there's a saying that many hands make light work. In this case, many fingers make light work. In order for me to bend that, especially to like a full step or step and a half with one finger, that would be really hard for me to do, number one. Number two, if you try to do it with just the 3rd finger, you're going to a lot of times get this. Listen to this. And as you pull back down, you hear those runaway strings. You don't want that. So 2 things that I think need to happen in order for you to do some good quality bends. Number one, get at least one other finger behind it. Now this is kind of tricky and it's going to take you some practice, but if you practice it, it's going to help you a lot. It's going to cut down on all that overring. As a matter of fact, it will eliminate that overring. I take my 1st finger here, and I'm just going to gently lay it on top of the strings that I'm not using. Okay? So if I were to play those strings, I'd get this. They're just dead. So as opposed to this, hear those notes, those little runaway strings I got right there? If I just barely lay my 1st finger here, when I come back from that bend, listen to this. And when I'm done, that's all you hear is the note that I intended for you to hear. That's called clarity, and that's good technique. So watch this section again if you have. It's one of the most important things that you can do concerning bends. See my 1st finger there? Now, once again, making this creative and being yours, we can do a straight bend to pitch, or we can do this, like kind of like a vibrato type bend where we go. Hear that? So instead of this, way, it's up to you. That's your salt and pepper. Those are your spices. That's what you're going to put on there. And how much you use and how you use them, that's completely up to you. So what I suggest is that you experiment and try this and try that. And you're going to come up with your own ideas and your own ears of, oh, that sounds great, or that doesn't sound great. Okay, continuing on, we've taken care of the half step. Now we're going to go the full step. So remember, a full step bend covers the pitch from A, point A here, to a full step, which on our instrument is 2 frets. Hear that? Or so we're going to be bending this string to this pitch. Hear it? So for you to bend it flat instead of this, hear that? That's going nowhere. So that's a good way to check your bends, like I said before. Figure out what point A is. Point B is the place that, the pitch that you're bending the string to. And listen to that. Get that note fixed in your ear. And bend. See that? Perfect. Okay. Now finally the step in the half bend. We're going to take this, which is our starting point, point A, and we're going to bend it 1.5 steps or 3 frets on our guitar. We're going to go start here. 1, 2, 3. Hear that? And that's way up there. You know, another guy who was really great at that was David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. He would do those bends, half step, whole step, and a step and a half, all in one shot. Okay, and you can use that for a lot of great stuff. Okay, that's the bending section of this.